Hey everyone, I'm Todd Wayne along with Ronnie Heelan. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Paranormally Podcast. Now, coming up on this episode of Paranomaly, we're talking with Lawrence Milano, who is a filmmaker and the creator of MONDOdocs. Now, that's a YouTube channel that concentrates on the paranormal, the abandoned, the strange, and the unusual. Now, he hopes that his videos can leave viewers feeling a little bit creeped out and hopes that he can inspire you to grab a camera and get out there and film your own spooky and weird adventures. So grab yourself a drink and a snack, turn the lights off on the way back, find yourself a nice comfy spot, and enjoy this episode of Paranomaly. Stay with us, folks. All right. I think we're good to go. All right. So how you doing, Lawrence?
Not bad. Still relaxing from the weekend. So
where'd you go?
I went to Gettysburg. I was there. Yeah, I was there Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Awesome.
I was there for investigation reasons and to go to the Gettysburg Bash.
Yeah. We've seen a lot of pictures for that. We're planning on going next year.
You should. It's a good time.
Yeah.
I think you guys would definitely enjoy it.
Did you see Batman?
I did for a second. He ran by in a panic. I was like, "Oh, there goes Batman," and that was it. That was my Batman experience.
He had to stop some crime. He probably saw the Joker or something.
He was hurrying up the hallway with his little Christmas hat on and everything.
Aww.
So he was. I'm like, goodbye.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm in Pennsylvania. I consider myself a filmmaker. It's MONDOdocs. It's my baby. I started it back in 2019, just as a documentary YouTube channel, and it kind of took off from there as a paranormal channel, which I kind of intended it for it to be like that, but not like how it is now.
So when did you get started in the paranormal?
Well, I think back in 2006. I mean, I've always been a fan of horror movies and just a big horror fan in general. And the paranormal kind of falls under that umbrella to a degree. So I've always been fascinated by hauntings and ghost stories and so forth. So I would say I first really started to get into it back in 2006. My two friends and I back in Jersey, where I'm originally from, we were going through the Weird New Jersey book, and which is a publication that focuses on it concentrates on the weird happenings of the state of New Jersey, because it's really filled with weird happenings. And we came across Ghost Lake, which is a haunted lake, and it was about maybe 30 minutes from the house. So we thought, hey, it's 2:00 in the morning. Let's just hop in the car and go to this haunted lake.
Heck
so
yeah. Adventure.
So we did just that, and it was off this haunted road called Shades of Death Road, and it was every cliche you can think of.
Yeah, right.
And it was dark and a little spooky. We went to the woods. We went to this little tiny cave, and took some pictures. And the first ever YouTube video that I did was at the lake, and it was so badly done. It was just like photos and orb pictures, and I was young. I was like my early 20s. Actually, I think I was either 19 or 20 years old at the time. So it was a long time ago. And since then, I just, got really into the paranormal and kind of became obsessed with, finding haunted locations around me and so forth.
Heck yeah.
Now, what's the name of your YouTube channel?
It's MONDOdocs. So Mondo comes from the Italian word mondo, which means world. It really, the word kind of became pretty common to use in 60s and 70s so-called documentary filmmaking. So there was like a period of documentaries that were done by mostly Italian filmmakers who went around the world basically to capture images of death and dying, how different cultures explore death and how they explore sex, for example. So the word mondo kind of comes from that world of documentary filmmaking. They tend to be over the top films, if anything else. Over the top.
Would it be safe to say it's like Memento Mori?
Kinda. I mean, if you've heard of the film Faces of Death,
yes,
back in the 70s, that's considered a kind of a Mondo film in its own right.
Okay, I got it.
But no, I mean, I've been, I'm a big horror fan, I'm a big Mondo fan, and it took me a while to come up with a name for the channel. I was in Pittsburgh at the time, it's back in 2019, and I knew I wanted to do a YouTube channel that concentrated on the weird side of Pennsylvania, in New Jersey, and so forth. And I'm like, you know what? How about Mondo? How about MONDOdocs? And see if that sticks. And, the idea for the channel, it really wasn't meant to be all paranormal or anything like that. It was, like I said, it was meant to focus on the weird side of things. And I was doing that for a little bit until 2020 hit and the pandemic kind of started and everything kind of shut down. So I was like to myself, well, what can I do that doesn't really include too many people or things that that are required to be open? I'm like, well, cemeteries. How about we go explore a few cemeteries, film there, or do a few unboxing videos of weird things and haunted places. And it just kind of took off from there. It just kind of stuck, and I found myself to it was kind of like take two on the whole YouTube thing for me. Like I said, back in 2006, I hopped on the YouTube game for a little bit with the paranormal stuff, but it didn't stick at all. Life got in the way and it just didn't work out. But when I started doing this really more full-time, sort of full-time back in 2020, it stuck. So here we are today. I've gone to the Conjuring House, Gettysburg 1,000 times. A haunted naval ship in Massachusetts.
Hell yeah.
So I didn't really expect this to happen. I didn't really expect the MONDOdocs to be, where it's at today in terms of content. But here we are.
Now, did you go to school to do filming and things like that?
Yeah. I went to school in Pittsburgh for filmmaking. I ever since I was a little kid, I always wanted to make movies. That was my thing. I knew I wanted to grow up and just make films, horror movies, to be specific. My parents were supportive, kind of, of that idea. But they're like, you know what? You want to go to film school? Go for it. Just see what happens. And, it's been fun. It's been fun so far.
Good.
Are you based out of Pittsburgh? Is that where you are?
Not anymore. So I was in Pittsburgh from... I finished college back in Pittsburgh, 2007 until 2012. Came back to Eastern PM from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, on the border of PA and New Jersey. And, And I came back to Eastern PA, and then back in 2018, I went back out to Pittsburgh and, started MONDOdocs. And then, when things were getting kind of crazy with the pandemic and everything else, I thought, well, let's come back to Eastern PA for a little bit. And be closer to family.
Yes.
During uncertain times, and I'm still here. So I was going to come back to Eastern PA for maybe a year, and then head back out to maybe Pittsburgh or somewhere else. But no, I'm still in Bethlehem. But I'm glad I came back. If I was still in Pittsburgh, I don't think I would have had the chance to go to as many places that I've gone to so far for MONDOdocs.
Yeah.
So how many videos do you have?
Oh, goodness. Quite a few. I would say, let me see. I actually have, I wonder, give me 1 second. It should be it's under 100. I know that. Oh, let me turn this down. Does it say 85 videos total on my channel?
Okay.
And that's including some live streams here and there. But yeah, 85 total on the YouTube channel. And funny thing is, the very first video that I've done for the channel was a haunted video. And then kind of did some non-haunted stuff. And then you can see when the pandemic hit. And then it's all haunted paranormal stuff. And some abandoned locations from there. And it just kind of never stopped. I've done some non-paranormal stuff here and there for the channel. But mostly it's, just abandoned locations and ghost hunting.
And do you do this alone, or do you have a team?
I do it alone sometimes. When I go to an abandoned location, I'll do that by myself because I don't want to bring anyone else with me.
Yeah, that's kind of brave, dude.
Right.
Well, I mean, it depends. If I get caught or something happens, I don't want anyone else getting dragged down with me.
Yeah,
So.
I feel that.
And haunted locations, it depends. I'll go sometimes alone, sometimes with people, with friends. Luckily I have friends who are also into paranormal investigating, so it helps. Definitely helps.
Now,
Do
you do documentary style films? Is that what you focus on at this point?
For the most part, I try to. I did one on a cursed town that I'm actually. When I moved from Jersey to PA, I moved to this little small town with my parents and my brother. And according to some friends I've made, they claim that town is haunted. So a few months ago, I did a documentary on them, kind of explaining why that town is haunted and so forth. So that's more kind of traditional documentary mixed in with ghost hunting, essentially, which is what I try to do. I try to do traditional documentary filmmaking with exploring and investigating. Like my Huntings of Gettysburg documentary, which is my longest documentary project yet. It's an hour and a half almost. That's very much traditional documentary filmmaking mixed in with me walking around on the location by myself. So I try to do a mixture of both. Try to do something a little different,
Yeah.
So now, how long does it take you to make one of these documentaries? I mean, I've seen quite a few of your documentaries on your YouTube channel, and they're really good, and they look like it looks like it takes a long time.
It depends. It can take a few days. If it's an abandoned location that I go to and film at, I can take maybe a day to edit. It doesn't really take long at all. The Huntings of Gettysburg documentary, that took a few months to edit together. Because the original idea with that one was to do 3 separate videos on 3 different haunted Gettysburg locations. And after, I think, the first video, I realized, let's just make this into a feature film. And that took about maybe 2 or 3 months to film. So it took a little bit to edit as well. But it really depends. It depends on the video. It depends where I'm at. If work and life is getting in the way of things. Sometimes when I go film somewhere, I'll come back and I even look at the footage for like a day or two. And then, upload everything and then start editing it and kind of look at it as with a fresh set of eyes, essentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, it all depends. I filmed the video on Thursday in Gettysburg, and right now I'm basically done with it. Adding some final touches to it. It should be uploaded Tuesday, which is tomorrow, hopefully. And that's like a 33-minute video so far. So that took about, I started yesterday. So it's taken about, maybe 2 days to edit. So it all depends. It all depends how complicated and how much footage that I filmed for the project.
Now, when you take like Gettysburg, for example, I watched that and it was very good. I liked it. Now, you couldn't stay there for 3 months.
Right. So, I wish I could.
So how do you get the footage? Is that just from going there a lot?
Yeah. I mean, I'm only 2 hours from Gettysburg.
Heck yeah.
So luckily, it's easy to get there. And the Gettysburg documentary, it's, what did we film? We filmed at the Jenny Wade house, for example. And if you don't know, Jenny Wade is the only civilian to have been killed during the Battle of Gettysburg.
Yes.
So we filmed at her house, and that was like, that took a night to film. And it was maybe 3 of us. We split the cost. That was pretty easy to book, easy to film at. The Farnsworth house, a few of us split a room, but luckily we went in the winter time, so nobody else was there.
Yeah,
so
that's when I want to go. Yeah.
Yeah, a few of us had the whole building to ourselves.
Heck yeah.
Which was amazing.
Yes.
And that, to me, that's when it's most active, that particular building.
Mm-hmm.
The Farnsworth house is, it's already pretty active. But in the winter, when there's no one else there, when things are quiet, there's no noise pollution, nothing like that. the place comes alive. And we've heard disembodied voices, got amazing EVPs. Just that place in general is just, the whole town is haunted. But that building itself alone is just so active. But with that specific documentary, just went back and forth basically to film. It took a lot of time and money, unfortunately, but it's got to do what you got to do to make a film,
Well,
Yes.
it's worth it because you have quite a following on YouTube, and YouTube's hard to get people on there.
Yes, it is. What's your secret?
So, you're doing something right.
I hope so. I mean, and it's all about timing. I don't know. I really don't know how, right now I think I'm at 1,500 something subscribers. I remember when I got 100 subscribers back in 2020, and I was thrilled about that. And I 1,540 something seems like a small number to a lot of people, but to me, that's a lot of people. I never did I think that many people would subscribe to my crazy channel. But, here we are, people watching me go to these crazy haunted places. But what's the secret? I have no idea. I think staying consistent is a great way to keep the algorithm going.
Yes.
Because YouTube likes it when you stay consistent.
Yeah.
They like it when your videos are getting more views because they'll pump out your video to different people. But it's all about timing. For example, I filmed at a location called Hell House back in, 7 months ago. And it's a haunted attraction, and it's haunted. And it's local, so it's easy to do a film there. So we did that, and let me close this real quick here. Oh, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, good. I just closed Facebook, and I was like, oh, no. And that was getting some decent views. And then another YouTube channel, the Paranormal Files, they did a video there not too long ago. And that really helped my video get quite a bit of views. Because, that channel, the Paranormal Files, they have, 500,000 subs. So when they do a video, their followers are going to look at that video and be like, oh, where's this place at? Let me see if anyone else has done a video on that location. And I just so happened to have done a video on that location. So that helped me a lot.
So what is Hell House?
So it is the filming location for the movie Hell House, which is a found footage fake documentary horror movie about this haunted attraction that goes wrong. And during Halloween season, it's actually a haunted attraction with the scare actors and everything else. And it just so happens to be actually haunted. A good friend of mine, she owns the place. Other friends, they investigate there. They organize their investigations and events at that location. And it's cool. It's a cool little place. And it's only 30 minutes away from me, which is great.
Yeah, that's perfect.
That's awesome. Lucky you. We should be in East freaking PA instead of where we are.
Right.
There's a lot in PA. I mean, PA is there's a lot here, especially in the Northeast region. We're only 2 hours from, the Shanley Hotel, which is another super haunted hotel up in New York. And that place is nuts. I've done, 3 videos there now. And I think I'm done filming there. I've filmed enough there. But I still go there just, as a guest to not even film. And it's just such an active location. I'll tell you one story. When I took my girlfriend there back in November, we had the whole place to ourselves. And we were, it's a pretty active night. And usually when I go to bed there, when I go to sleep, it's a pretty quiet, safe zone. I go, all right, I'm in bed. Nothing happens when I'm in bed here at the Shanley Hotel. Great. So we go to bed. We turn the light off. And it's quiet. You can't hear a thing. And all of a sudden you hear bam, like the loudest knock and bang at the door of the room. And we're startled. And I'm startled. And I've not been that startled in a long time. And I was baffled. So I'm like, well, what? And, it's no one was there. No one banged on the door. So it's like this disembodied, loud ass knock on the door of a room.
Wow.
And that really, creeped us out a little bit.
Yeah.
But that place, though, I reckon if you get a chance to go there, I definitely recommend it.
Heck yeah.
So when you go to these places to document, I'm sure you take equipment there too, correct?
Yes, I'll take a few things here and there. I'm a big fan of motion balls, which are like cat toys that light up when you touch them. Big fan of those. I'm a very skeptical person for the most part, especially when it comes to actual ghost hunting equipment like REM pods and K2 meters. Because those things are very sensitive, especially K2 meters. If you have an incoming text message, that thing is going to spike. If it's near our Wi-Fi or internet modem or a router, it's going to spike.
Yes.
Electrical outlets.
Yeah, exactly. It's to be very careful. So I'm very hesitant to use those objects. I used a REM pod in my most recent video that I'll be uploading hopefully tomorrow night. And it was very responsive. I've not seen a REM pod be that responsive ever. To the point where, I was asking, the so-called spirit, like, hey, I'm going to close this drawer in this vanity in this dresser. Do you want me to close it? And I put my hand on it and the REM pod would go off. It was beep,
Right.
And then I'll wait a few minutes. I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to close this drawer. And then beep. I'm like, okay, never mind, not closing. I'll leave it open. And so that was weird. But overall, what I like to do for the most part is kind of do a walkthrough in the videos, is take the camera and just walk around this location and kind of take you guys with me, kind of, push you in that environment with me, kind of make it like an immersive experience, hopefully. So, when you're watching it, I want you to feel like you're with me, basically. And if I do some investigating, great. But overall, I want you to feel like you're there with me, walking through this potentially haunted location. And, I want you to be freaked out with me, basically.
Yeah, that's super cool. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, that is awesome. So tell us, what is like one of the most places that really creeped you out? Like what do you feel the most haunted place that you've been to?
I have to say a few of them. I was at the Farnsworth House in Gettysburg. When I took my friend there back in 2021, early winter. It was me and her, and then some older couple in like the room next door. And they were so quiet. When you hear them talk, you can barely hear them talk. You hear like muffling, basically. So it wasn't that much noise pollution, thankfully. And we were investigating here and there. And I still remember. So I won't get into too much, but one of the spirits that haunts the Farnsworth House in Gettysburg is a young boy named Jeremy. And the story is that Jeremy got hit by a horse carriage outside the building. And then he died inside one of the rooms of the building. And there's a room named Jeremy after him. And in every dresser or vanity in every single room, there's a drawer with toys in it. So if you book a room at the Farnsworth House, go to the dresser, open that drawer up, you most likely will find toys or coins. And the idea is that you can play with Jeremy the ghost. And he'll move some stuff around, blah, blah, blah. So my friend Michelle, she takes some toys out of the drawer and then brings them down the hallway, whatever, comes back to the room. I'm like, did you have any luck down the hallway with the toys? She's like, no, nothing really happened. She puts the toys back in the drawer of the vanity, closes it, gets onto bed with me, and then we just hear whoosh. We look over, and the drawer is wide open.
Wow.
And we're like, did that really happen? and it was so strange. And the thing is, we heard it. Because when it happened, I'm like, what the hell was that noise? And we look over, and the drawer is wide open. So that freaked her out. That kind of freaked me out, but I was more excited, if anything else.
Yeah.
And then later on, she goes, hey, I'm going to take a bath in this clawfoot tub. I'm like, go for it. You have an obsession with clawfoot tubs, go for it. So she takes a bath. I'm in the room hanging out, looking through footage, doing whatever. And then I just hear a woman humming, like, thinking it's her. And then it stops. And she goes, Lawrence, was that you? I'm like, no. Was that not you? She goes, no. The humming happened 3 feet in front of her in the bathroom.
Wow.
And it was loud. Like, it was loud as hell. And it was so human-like. I really thought it was her. And she thought it was me for some reason. But no, that freaked her out beyond belief.
Yeah, that one freaked me out too.
Yeah.
Butt-ass naked in the tub trying to relax.
In the darkness, she had the lights off. I'm like, are you nuts?
Did she have candles lit at least?
No candles. Not in that place.
Oh my God.
And the thing is, like, the bathrooms in that place are the most active. Like, it's so weird. Like, my girlfriend, I took her there for the first time back in August of last year. And she goes, hey, I'm going to take a bath. I'm like, all right, go for it. I told you what happens when you take a bath here. So she takes a bath. And she had a motion ball in the bathroom with her. I had one with me on the table, kind of by the bed. I'm just sitting on the bed, hanging out. Lights are off. She's in a tub. Lights are off. So we're both in complete darkness. And then I close my eyes. And then I just hear like a whoosh sound. Open my eyes. Both motion balls in the bathroom and in the room with me go off at the same exact time. And then my girlfriend, Sarah, freaks out, screams. I'm like, are you okay? And she claims she saw a shadow come down from the window into the tub with her.
Wow.
And that really freaked her out.
Right?
And I'm telling you, that place, man, that place is something. I mean, one more story about that. A few of us went there on Valentine's Day because it's my birthday, and I wanted to go there for my birthday. So we went there on Valentine's Day, and we pretty much had the building to ourselves. And it was so quiet. We're on the staircase leading up to the attic where the sharpshooters were during the Battle of Gettysburg, and we're investigating. And all of a sudden, you just hear a woman whisper, "Watch," and we're like, "Did somebody just whisper watch?" But no one else is there. And luckily, we have it recorded. I'm going to put that in the video that's being uploaded tomorrow on YouTube.
Yay.
But like, it's like that. It was loud. So that's a great place for EVPs, disembodied voices, and weird bathroom shadow figures. But it's a crazy place.
And that is where we will stay next year, honey, when we go.
Right?
I'm telling you, go in the winter.
Jot that down, babe.
You will not regret it.
But that was at Farnworth house, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. See that?
That's what's up.
So, what do you think? Like you said, you don't trust a lot of equipment, but EVPs is always that's always my plausibility, because where did the voice come from?
Exactly.
I mean, if it's just you and your girlfriend and you catch something on a recorder, where did it come from?
Exactly. And for me,
a lot of people, they'll just be like, well, could it be interference from anything? And I'm like, no, that's not, I don't see that happening.
No. It's, for example, the Shanley Hotel, that's a great place for EVPs. And I've heard very clear EVPs. The owner, Kelly, who's amazing. She has an amazing EVP collection from that place. There's this one thing they were doing there. They were having cake, and someone had a recorder going on the entire time, and someone was asking, do you want cake? Who else wants cake? And you just hear a little girl's voice saying, "I want cake." Aww. And it's like clear as day. Wow. Not like a whisper, nothing like that. It's just a little girl. And one of the spirits there is a young girl named Rosie, who drowned in a well outside the hotel. Oh, and she's very active in that place. But yeah, no, EVPs they're interesting. And for me, for the longest time, they were, I think, the most unnerving aspect of the paranormal. For whatever reason, I loved EVPs, but hated them at the same time because they were so unnerving and unsettling. Now, I just think they're great pieces of evidence. I get excited. Sometimes they're tricky because you do hear what you want to hear. For example, let's take the DR60, that old Panasonic recorder. People claim it's the holy grail of recorders for EVP results. And I've heard some great EVPs coming from the DR60. However, it's also not the best sound quality. So when you listen to the playback, you're kind of looking for something. It's like when you look at a picture, let's say you go to Gettysburg, you take a picture of the tree line in the woods somewhere, and you're looking for something. You're looking for maybe a face of a soldier or a outline of a soldier's body. And maybe you'll see it. Maybe you'll actually pick out something in that picture and see a soldier's face. But really, It's just your brain trying to recognize faces.
Yes.
Sure.
And I think EVPs have the same effect. I think they're trying to look for something that may not be there. That might just be a noise that sounds like a voice. However, that doesn't mean EVPs are not, real. Because I think we've all heard some amazing, clear as day EVPs. If someone is saying, I want cake, obviously,
Right.
that's someone saying something that's not there. That wasn't a person in the room.
Right.
So,
and if it was a little girl and there's no kids there, I mean,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, once again, the Conjuring House. We went there earlier this year, very last minute trip, but we were invited by a close friend, and we had a chance to go and film there. And 3 of us were outside of the house, and freezing our asses off, and we're filming, and it was a pretty quiet night overall. But looking at the footage during the editing process, my girlfriend Sarah starts talking. And as soon as right before she starts talking, you hear a voice, and it's a child's voice, and it's asking, it's like, are you something? And I'm thinking to myself, is that her talking? It's not me, because I don't think a little girl. But I'm like, what? Who is talking? Who is asking this question? And it's clear as day, and it sounds like a little child asking, "Are you a ghost?" If you watch the Conjuring House video that I did on my channel, and you listen to that audio clip, that EVP, it's clear as day. It sounds like a child saying, "Are you a ghost?" And it's so weird, and it's so startling. It's more exciting if anything else.
Yeah, I would get very excited.
But and so if those kind of EVPs, when it's clear, perfect. But like if it's coming from something like the DR60, where it sounds like just like whispering or anything like that, that could be kind of tricky, because someone might have just moved their butt on the floor or something, and and the recorder might have picked it up, and you don't remember it happening. That's why when you're doing EVP sessions, you have to tag every single noise you make.
Absolutely.
Or hear. Yeah. But overall, I love EVPs. I think EVPs are my favorite, piece of evidence altogether.
Right. And that's, I'm going to be talking to somebody that's in our field, and we all know him pretty well, and he's a skeptic. And, I have questions about EVPs, and I'm very interested to see what he says about them, because like you said, I mean, if it's all adults there and there's a very clear child speaking, I mean, and it's coinciding with what you was just talking about. Where did it come from? I get
right.
Radio waves travel. Yes, I get that. But I mean, what would the odds be of some little kid saying about cake?
Yeah. Yeah. And,
Yep.
Same at the Conjuring House. What are the odds of a little kid saying, "Are you a ghost?" Like these things don't make any sense. And there's no reason why these voices in certain EVPs should exist, but they're there. And it depends what you think a ghost is, et cetera. But overall, I think it's, like you said, if the voice is there, then it's pretty difficult to explain why it's there. But overall, like I said, I think EVPs are my favorite pieces of evidence, compared to, photos of orbs, which I've seen quite often in different paranormal groups on Facebook. I used to be really picky about orb pictures, but now I just kind of keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, you have to,
then,
because you'll piss people off.
I know, and then I drive myself crazy. But it's always fun when I tell people, like, "Oh yeah, I'm into this and that." Like, "Oh, so you're into ghost hunting?" I'm like, "Yeah, a little bit." And they're like, "Well, I gotta show you this picture." I'm like, "Oh no," and or it's like the Ring camera on the front door, and it's like, "Well, this orb went by." I'm like, "It's probably a bug because it's really close to the lens," but whatever. And you try to help people, give them answers. Like, well, my opinion is most likely, it could be X, Y, and Z causing this orb situation you're dealing with. But it's up to them if they want to believe it or not. But for me personally, I'm just not an orb guy at all. I used to be back in the early days, but I'm also really into photography, so I've seen a lot of orbs in my pictures, especially when I take pictures, in front of a light source that causes, the green orb that we see in a lot of pictures.
Sure.
But, it's a green orb. I'm like, well, because of a light source, either in the picture or near you when you take the picture. So I don't know. We can go on all day about orbs, but
Yeah, because I mean, you're absolutely right. I'll hear people; they'll be like, "Look, there's a face in this orb," and I'm thinking, it's a piece of pollen. First off, I was like, but if you had the ability to go wherever you wanted, because your energy, would you want to be like this speck with a face? I mean, it makes no sense to me.
And you get to those random places too, like, oh, it's an orb outside my, my front door, and I should call my Ring camera. It's like, what is a spirit just roaming around, in your residential neighborhood for whatever? I don't know. It doesn't. There's a lot of loopholes when it comes to orbs, but yeah, it's mostly lens flares, dust, dirt, and bugs.
Yes.
And sometimes even clothing particles can cause. It's red. It's like, yeah, most likely is a piece of clothing that a particle broke off and floating through the air and so forth.
Sure. I've gotten pieces of hair in cameras, and I'm like, what the heck? It looks like a big rod or something. Like, what the heck is that?
And fun fact, REM pods can be triggered by hair. So my girlfriend, we use her REM pod mostly, but she took it to an investigation, and the REM pod was just going off nonstop. And they're like, why is this going off like this? And it was so consistent. They were like, okay, this is not paranormal. I think the REM pod is just broken. But there was a piece of hair on the antenna of the REM pod that was causing it to be triggered and to beep the way it beeps. So little things like that can cause REM pods to be triggered, which is nuts. But doesn't mean that REM pods are not great, tools for investigating. But you
have to rule out everything.
Yeah,
right.
You gotta check
hair,
that thing.
Yeah.
Make sure no hair. Make sure no bugs on it. Check the environment, and if it's going off in responsive manners, then you might have something there. But yeah, it's always check the environment and check the devices. Make sure nothing is setting them off like pieces of hair.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Because I used to, and I still tell people, if you're going to be a paranormal investigator, you got to be like a contractor. You got to know air conditioning units, heaters. You got to know how old houses work, especially with radiators. You need to know everything, because one person's scratch on the wall that they think is some kind of demonic thing it's really a mouse. You know what I mean?
Or like, we heard a knocking sound. It's like, well, you're in a building from the 1700s. It's going to make knocking noises. But I mean, I have buildings from the 1970s, and it makes weird knocking noises at times. Like a building from the 1800s is going to make a weird knocking noise.
Oh yeah.
Or it's going to settle.
Yeah.
So that's why I try to dismiss even like tapping and knocking noises. But it's you got, like you say, you gotta be, kind of like you have to have a basic understanding of maintenance and even photography, if you're investigating, or at least have someone with you who's familiar with photography, for example, or even already, it helps to have different people with different backgrounds.
Yes.
When it comes to investigating.
Yes.
Because it helps you to debunk things, which you should be able to do. As an investigator, in my opinion, if you're an investigator, you should be out there searching for,
logical reasons.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For this, yes, this location may be haunted. Find out why it's haunted, and and try to debunk it at the same time. And it's like, okay, why is the faucet in the bathroom turning on? Oh, this is really bad plumbing. Or what's causing a tapping noise? Oh, a squirrel keeps dropping acorns on the roof. It's just you gotta go out of your way to really try to debunk things. At least I do. I try to do that, and sometimes it drives people nuts.
People get really mad.
They do, and I get it. I understand,
because they want it to be exciting, like they see it on TV, and it really isn't.
No, and honestly, in my opinion, when you debunk something, that's also exciting. Or when you cannot debunk something.
Yeah.
Investigate it and be like, okay, let's try to debunk it. If you can't, it's like, okay, that might be something.
Yeah, it might
and
be
if
something.
it is, holy shit, I'm excited now because it's like you might have a good piece of evidence. But like you said, that's a perfect thing I tell people. It's like people ask me like, I want to go something with you. It's like, well, just be aware. It's a lot of sitting in the dark.
Yes.
Talking to the wall and trying to, get responses.
Yeah. You might not get nothing.
Yeah. I mean, hell, like in the Farnsworth house in Gettysburg, to go back to that place, I think it's the most haunted house ever. However, I've been there where nothing has happened.
Yeah.
Thursday, weird things happen, but Friday night, I spent the night there again, and not a thing happened.
Yeah.
So it all depends. It all depends if, whoever or whatever's there wants to communicate with you.
Exactly.
And sometimes it doesn't. So
tell me about, I watched it, but I had no idea. You did a documentary about a camp. There was a POW camp.
Mm-hmm.
And I never even heard of that before. You said it's in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I mean, we have quite a few old POW camps. Even in Gettysburg, part of the battlefield was used as a Russian POW camp during World War II.
Really?
But this camp, we did a video on. Camp Michaud is how you pronounce it, and it's an interrogation camp in the middle of absolute nowhere, deep in the woods, no man's land, and. They interrogated thousands of Japanese and German POWs. They brought them over here and brought them to different camps and interrogated them. And I'm sure you can use your imagination. I'm sure it wasn't exactly a happy place during those times, but it's a funky place to go to, and a lot of people don't even know about it. And, I think up until 2 years ago, I'd never heard of it either. I didn't even know we had POW camps in the U.S. I know we had the camps for Japanese civilians,
yes.
citizens during World War II after Pearl Harbor,
yes.
but I never thought we had actual POW camps for Germans, Japanese, or Russian soldiers. But it happened. When we went there, because we heard reports that it might be active a little bit, we went there mainly just to see it, just to be in that environment, of a location that is infamous in its own right. And we did some investigating to see what we could pick up, and we have some motion ball activity here and there, but nothing too crazy. But it was more fascinating just to be there, just to be at a location like that. It's a part of history. It's a historic landmark.
Yeah.
At this point, and the foundations are still there. Which is amazing. You're walking on these foundations of these structures, these living quarters of these, prisoners of war, and even the foundation of the old interrogation center is still there. So you can be, on this concrete where the soldiers were interrogated by U.S. officials. So it's a heavy feeling. It's a heavy and strange feeling being there.
Yeah, I bet. I was going to ask, what kind of a feeling did you get there?
It's a weird one. I mean, I've been to Auschwitz over in Poland back in 2013, and it kind of had not similar vibes to it, but close to it. I mean, Auschwitz is a whole other feeling.
Right.
It's over 1.1 million people died at that camp alone.
Yes.
And that was a whole experience. And I don't think anything will ever compare to that. But Camp Michaud was like maybe a 1% close to that. But it's a strange feeling, and it's really difficult to explain. But yeah, Camp Michaud, it's in Central PA, not too far from Gettysburg. And it's nuts. I mean, even in PA, we have old TNT bunkers. For example, Alvera, PA, the U.S. government during World War II kind of kicked everyone out of the town and demolished their homes and built these in-ground bunkers to store TNT. And then they realized we built way too many bunkers, and they all became abandoned. So now, still to this day, these bunkers, it's like 300 bunkers that still exist in the woods in Pennsylvania. And you can they're public property. You can walk into the bunkers and check them out. They're like concrete igloos, essentially, built into the earth. But yeah, a lot of things in PA.
That's crazy. Have you been to Western, Southwest PA? What's out here? Because that's where we are.
You've been to Crescent, right?
Oh yeah, I went to Crescent 3 months ago. We did a video or 2 videos there. But that place is bonkers.
Yeah, we're about 40 minutes from there.
Okay. So. Yeah, no, if you haven't gone there, I recommend it. It's a very interesting place.
Well, there's a lot going on with that place that it might not be open for much longer.
I think it's going to be. So there's a lot of rumors going here and there. I have a few close friends who work there, but we'll see what happens.
Hopefully, it works out good.
Hopefully, either way, the friends I have who do work there, they're great people. They care about the history. They care about preserving it. And I think it's all about that location. It's all about the history and protecting it. And hopefully that history does remain protected and preserved.
Exactly.
But either way, the place is also pretty haunted.
Yes.
It's crazy. And it's gone through so many changes. It was a sanatorium. It was a prison. Yeah. It was a lot of things. And, just walking through there, it's huge. It's also gigantic. To walk through there. But yeah, if you get a chance to go there, I would do so, as soon as you can and just check it out. They do like day trips. They do like photography days. So you just go there for the day and take pictures, which I think is great. I thought about doing that as well sometime soon. But yeah, no, it's a great place overall, in my opinion.
Yeah. What about? Did you ever go to Wimber? What's in Wimber?
Wimber, I don't know.
That's
it's
a hotel. Let me see what one. All the rooms have themes. Can't think.
Grand Midway.
Yes, the Midway.
Yeah, I'm going there in early August. Never been there before, so I'm really excited. And I from what I've seen through videos and pictures, the place looks bonkers too. All the rooms are different theme. Like a mummy room, a vampire room. A big old Ouija board painted on the roof.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
It was in the Guinness book.
Wow.
Yes. That's crazy. Yeah, and I'll look forward to that one. So
I want to be in a vampire room, honey.
Yeah, there's a vampire room. There is.
Yeah, there's a Black Lagoon, Creature of the Black Lagoon room as well. Like, every room is themed. So yeah, I look forward to it.
That's super cool.
I'll be filming there, and we'll see how it goes. Next week, I'm going up to New York. Gasport, New York, which I think is Western New York. I'm going to the Greystone Manor.
Oh, nice.
I've not been there before. I never heard of it until like a month ago, and I was trying to find, different places to go to by myself. So I'm like, well, this place seems, it's 5 hours away, but I love driving, love traveling, so I'll drive out there and do a video and see what happens. Have you guys been there before? Have you heard of Greystone Manor?
I've heard of it.
I have heard of it,
there.
and I've read up a little bit about it, but we haven't been there
yet.
It looks interesting. It's hopefully I'm the only one there. I think it's on a Tuesday or Wednesday. So I try to go for like weekdays or weeknights, so it limits the possibility of other people.
Yes, yeah, that's a good idea.
That is a good idea. Yeah.
Go back to Gettysburg. The Farnsworth House. When you guys go on a weekday if you can. Like in the winter, on a weekday. Trust me, you'll have a blast.
Heck yeah.
Or be terrified. Who knows? But the Greystone Manor, I look forward to it. I emailed the owner, and I'll have access to the cemetery in the back, their barn, the seance room, and any other unused rooms that are not booked by other guests.
Heck
so
yeah.
it should be interesting. Like I said, I'll be by myself, so we'll see how things go.
Right.
I'm looking forward to going to YouTube and looking at your videos because I'm new to PA, so it'll be wonderful for me to get on there and watch and learn about this area and what's going on in this state. So.
Yeah, we're in Boswell, Somerset area. So we're basically 2 hours from Gettysburg, 40 minutes from here to Crescent. It takes us, I don't know,
it's about an hour,
15 minutes,
Pittsburgh.
20 minutes to go to the place that you're getting ready to go to.
Yeah, that's not far
that's crazy.
at all.
So we're pretty close. And
Nice,
and if you get a chance when you go to Wimber, stop on over into Johnstown and go look at like the 1889 flood place. And we had 3 major floods here. Every time we go into Johnstown, it's like
heavy.
It's heavy. Yes, we get this heavy vibe, and there's like a lot of anger, and it's just weird. It's a weird feeling, but there's a ton of death in Johnstown because of all the steel mills and the mines and the accidents they had in the mines. There's
oh god, yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple places up here where we are that has mines that caved in and collapsed on people. And
not
to mention the 9/11 memorial.
Yes,
here too. So
I've been wanting to go there for quite some time.
Yeah, that's out here close to us also.
Yeah, we're not far from that at all.
But we're both empaths, so we're really sensitive to vibes. And we could be in the best mood ever, and we'll be driving into Johnstown, and like it's almost immediate. As soon as we cross the line, our moods completely change. It's crazy.
Yeah. It is weird.
It's crazy. I can't live there. We lived there. I lived there for 9 months, and I'm just like, I can't do this.
Yeah, you'll have to let us know what you think if you go through there, because seriously, it is a weird feeling.
I've heard that, and it's been on my list for quite some time now because of the Johnstown flood, which is a famous tragedy. But I've heard
there was 3 of those floods. I was in the middle. In fact, I was right in the thick of the 1977 flood.
Oh, God.
But they had one in 1889. The old dam that they built, it was actually pretty new. It was made hollow for whatever reason. They needed to cut corners. They filled it with trees and everything else, and then, of course, concrete, and it just gave away. And of course, nobody after that was like, we have no idea what happened, or all the paperwork disappeared. But then there was another one in 1939, and then one in 77. So
that's crazy.
3 massive ones.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'll get there eventually. I go to Pittsburgh quite often, so I kind of pass on by Johnstown a little bit.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm about to make a pit stop and just to get the feelings from there and see how I feel. Because that's those floods were tragic.
Yes.
Tragic major events. So I'm curious to go. Isn't there a museum dedicated to the flood?
Yes, there is. Yes, and I think that's dedicated to all 3. So,
but I have to go and check it out.
Yeah, there's a video for the 1889 flood. In fact, I think that's on YouTube. If you just type that in, you'd see it.
Right.
So, but yes, lots of accidents in the mines and mills, and
it's just a tragic state altogether.
Yes.
A lot of things happen here. Yeah, people don't realize it. Like, Pennsylvania is so boring. It's like, have you learned the history of the state at all? Like, there are so many things that have happened here, and things you can still see. And like these old mines are, they're memorial sites now, but you can go. I mean, maybe I'm just a dark person who likes dark history and so forth. So maybe I'm just a morbid person. But I'm like, you can go to these memorials and read all about these tragic events. I don't think it's boring at all.
Right.
We have a few mines out this way too that have collapsed, and mine workers have died, and it's a very common thing.
Not to mention, it's a beautiful state. Pennsylvania is a beautiful state.
It is. The ticks are bad here.
Yes.
Beyond belief. I remember I was in Gettysburg 2 months ago, and I was in the tall grass, not even the tall grass, for like 2 seconds, and I got 3 ticks on me. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Oh, my God.
I'm over the tick problem here.
Yeah, they're bad here. Well, now, when you was in Pittsburgh, did you go on the incline plane?
The incline? Yeah. I mean, I lived on Mount Washington for a little bit during college, and took the incline up the mountain every day.
See, we have an incline, too.
Do you?
Yes. So, it's I think us in Pittsburgh are the only ones.
Nice. Yeah, they're kind of fun to use, except when they broke down every now and then, which happened. They would get stuck. Luckily, I was never on it when it got stuck, but I've seen it happen to other people. And just be like, you know what? I'll go back later.
Yeah,
or just drive. Yeah,
they're rehabbing ours, so probably if you get here
That's
next
good.
year or the year after, it should be open and running and going.
Oh, God. Yeah, Pittsburgh is a fun city. I mean, I do miss living there. I don't miss the parking situation because it was just a disaster to park in Pittsburgh, and the roads don't make any sense either. They get you to A to B or wherever you need to go, but if you drove through Pittsburgh, it doesn't really make any sense when you're on the road. It's like, how did I get here from there? And you have like a 5-lane bridge, which is always fun trying to merge over. But
That reminds me of Nashville, Tennessee. Yeah.
Oh, God. That's also on my list to go to Tennessee. I think Tennessee is, I hear it's actually really nice.
It is. I love Tennessee. I lived there for 22 years. So
Nice.
the last 7 was Nashville. And the traffic there is crazy. So brace yourself.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Great.
You said you're in Bethlehem, right?
Yep.
That was Big Steel.
Yeah, we still have the steel mill.
Yeah.
It's just a relic at this point.
That's what we have here. We have all steel mills. We did a lot of work with Bethlehem. Well, in fact, we have Bethlehem Steel. So
yeah, nice.
They're the regular mill.
Yeah, we turned our blast furnace, the steel mill, into a non-profit arts organization. Took over, and that I used to work for back in the day, way back in the day. They do live free concerts, comedy shows. There's an independent cinema, and the backdrop is the steel mill, and they have lights all over it. So, it's they gave it some life a little bit.
Well,
that
that's
steel
cool.
mill, it is like it's unique, and there's a walkway up there they built so you can walk up along the steel mill, and the little kiosks you can read, little plaques you can read about this part of the mill and so forth. So it's cool. Bethlehem definitely takes pride in their steel history.
Kind of sounds like Johnstown. That's what they have too. So
Which is good, which I think you have to, respect it and preserve that history a little bit. Pittsburgh, when not every city is lucky. When Pittsburgh's steel industry went away, southern Pittsburgh, a lot of the homes and neighborhoods kind of went abandoned. When the steel industry shut down, everyone kind of left town for the most part.
Yeah, that happened in Johnstown
That's
too.
what happened in Johnstown.
Yeah, luckily Bethlehem somehow made it work, thankfully.
Right.
But,
I think we saw some of those that time that we went to go pick up your brother. We passed a few abandoned neighborhoods because we were like, look at these perfectly beautiful homes that nobody lives there, like whole neighborhoods.
They were probably little mining areas. So yeah, it's fascinating, the history, and I'm glad to see you out there. You focus a lot on the history of a place. Some of the videos that I've seen that you've done, you spend quite a bit of time with the history of the place, which is awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to learn a lot from you, dude.
Well, I hope so. I mean, when it comes to at least paranormal stuff, you can't have ghost hunting without the history.
That's right.
Exactly.
I know a few people who go into these places like, I don't know anything about it, and it's like, I get that, but at the same time, try to learn and appreciate the history maybe beforehand. So when you walk into a place and go, wow, so this spot is where this happened, or this is where that happened. For me, it's the history of it. You walk into a location, and it's like, wow, it's like you're walking the same footsteps someone else walked.
Yes, exactly.
And and either it's tragic or it's not tragic, whatever it may be. You're walking those footsteps, and that is such a privilege to do that.
It really
And I
is.
think it's and yeah, for me, the history goes a long way of learning it.
That's what makes me love a place is the history, learning the history of a place. Because I'm from Savannah, Georgia, and there's a lot of history there, a lot of hauntings and ghosts, and a lot of bad things happen. I mean, Savannah is literally built on a mass cemetery, mass graves and stuff. And so once I learned the history of Savannah, I was like, oh my God, I love this place, which is cool because I was born there. But
Savannah, Georgia. There's a lot of history in Georgia, yeah. And I hear it's a very haunted town.
It is. And if you go, don't go during the summer because you'll be completely miserable. But
I believe it.
The heat. Halloween would be a good time to go.
Nice.
So, Lawrence, tell me, what do you have? What's your vision for the future? Especially with like MONDOdocs, where do you see yourself going with this?
Well, I guess kind of just hoping to produce more traditional documentaries that do focus on the paranormal and not the paranormal. For example, I did a documentary on death cafes. And Death Cafe is a kind of a group meeting / group discussion that was formed in the UK and made its way over to the US. And it's organized by those who are fascinated by death and dying. Sometimes funeral homes, they will organize these meetings or discussions, and it's a group forum. They're free to attend, and you go and you talk about death and dying. And it's not meant to be therapeutical. It's not meant to be a grieving session, but it can be. But I did a documentary on a funeral home nearby who organizes a death cafe once a month, and that was fascinating to just document and to learn about. So I'm hoping to do more documentaries in that fashion on death and dying and so forth, but also at the same time still focus on the paranormal a little bit here and there. But we'll see. I mean, anything could happen. MONDOdocs was not even meant to be a completely paranormal channel back in 2019. But here we are. It's got the Conjuring House, Farnsworth, Mothman. It's just Lisa Borden House, Penhurst. All these videos, all these haunted adventures that have gone on since 2019, and I didn't expect any of it to happen. So I guess at this point, kind of expect the unexpected. But I do have a goal, and that's it's still to focus on kind of traditional documentary filmmaking to a certain degree.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. Well, I thank you so much, Lawrence, for coming on. And if you're in this area, you gotta get a hold of me. And,
yeah, definitely.
And Ronnie and I will take you around, show you some stuff as well. But
I'm just glad we made it happen. I mean, I'm glad we made this finally happen. I've been wanting to come on this podcast for quite some time now, so I'm just I'm grateful.
Awesome.
So thank you for having me on.
No, thank you, because I mean, I follow you, you know that, and I love seeing your stuff and what you're doing. And here's a question: what is your mascot's name?
Doc. So original. But my girlfriend made it. She's like, I'm like, why should I call this guy? She's like, just call him Doc. I'm like, okay. His name is Doc then, little Doc.
I seen he goes with you pretty much everywhere.
That's a new thing. I had the idea for a while now. I'm like, should I bring him along or do something like that? And now he lives in my trunk of my car, so I don't ever forget him if I go somewhere.
And it's awesome too.
A cute little idea.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you again, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day here.
Hey, thank you. And the video should be up sometime tomorrow, so be sure to check it out. MONDOdocs on YouTube.
Awesome. We will.
What is you have MONDOdocs on Facebook? You have you have a YouTube channel. That's MONDOdocs too.
Yep. YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. TikTok's a lot of short form videos. A lot of non-ghost hunting stuff, just more weird locations, if anything else, is what I do on TikTok.
Yeah, like weird Pennsylvania. I mean, it's weird
kinda
stuff. Anywhere you go, you find these little weird things, and people love that stuff. I know I do.
Yeah. I appreciate you. I'm really looking forward to learning more about this area where I'm living now. So
yeah, Pennsylvania.
Well, hopefully it
glad we
inspires
did
you.
this. It will.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. And
I'm
that's
already
part
inspired.
that's part of the goal too, is to inspire our viewers to go out and have their own adventures.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you, sir, very much, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thanks. You too.
All right. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for tuning in with us tonight, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and follow to receive notifications when new content from Paranormally Podcast is made available. If you believe you have something paranormal happening in your home or business, or you believe you may have witnessed a UFO or UAP, please send us your story, your photos, videos, questions, suggestions, and your comments to paranormallypodcast@gmail.com. You can also visit us at www.paranormallypodcast.com for more content and information, including all our social links. Hey, thanks again for watching and listening, and I hope that you tune in for next week's episode of Paranomaly. Hey, a word of caution. Paranormally Podcast and its affiliates or hosts do not verify or check the validity of any person, team, or its members. Paranormally Podcast highly advises that you proceed with caution when contacting any person or team before allowing them and having them into your home or business. A legit paranormal research and investigation team will never charge you a fee to investigate your home or business. They do, however, accept donations to help further the research and investigations if you so choose to do so. All right, thanks everybody.